Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mark here, MMR Trains and More. Hey, if you like what you see, check us out every Wednesday. We got a new video uploaded most Wednesdays. Every Wednesday we try to do it. So if you're not a subscriber, consider doing that so you don't miss it. Otherwise, just come on back and see what we're up to next week. So this is going to be a layout update for October. I've talked about the sanding tower now for a couple of weeks and I wish it was finished, but it's not. Interesting story on this thing. As usual, I wind up finding basically free parts at a train swap meet, model train meet about a year and a half ago, and now with this operating session coming up, I was sort of cleaning up around the layout and just checking a little bit of wiring under the layout, and I saw this bag with lifelike parts in, and it's like, well, it's either going to have to go or we're going to do something with it. And you know me, I don't like to throw things out necessarily, so we kept it, and sure enough, it had enough support structure for their fuel tank kit that I thought, well, if I stand it on end and you know, maybe add a couple pieces of strip wood to it, add a platform, add a nice brass ladder up the side, and do a few other things to it, we might have something here. So it's not done, obviously. I'm looking at this material to wrap the tower itself with, the container, if you will, for the sand on top. The little pump house on the bottom, that would have used a compressor to push the dried sand up to the tower. On my layout, the sand is coming in basically already dried or in bags. I mean, a sanding tower in Manitowoc never, as far as I can tell, never actually even existed. But I'm just, you know, a model railroader at heart, and I had the little space for it, and let's fill it up with something, you know. We'll dive into that a little more in the next video as we finish that project. Yeah, my favorite ones are from Rick's. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I like the structure of those and the fineness of them. However, I also have an ice cream bucket full of everything from Varney to Atlas to Bachmann to Walthers, telegraph poles, electric line poles, anything under the sun, you know, in this ice cream bucket. So not to be cheap about it, but on the branch line especially, the Sioux line had basically a one-arm, maybe two-arm in some area, telegraph poles. They just didn't run that many wires. It was a branch line and not a heavy main line with signaling wires and whatever else would go on the pole. Anyhow, perfect spot for these Atlas pieces, I figured. So carefully cutting off the three crossbars, taking two off, I should say, and leaving one, left me a pretty decent looking pole. Now, the old trick on this, any Atlas, Rick's, whatever pole, add a little grain to it, make it look a little more like wood. It's a little bit overdone, I suppose, but I like to use a fine tooth razor saw and just run it up and down the pole, add a little grain to it, a little bit of graininess to it, and then you can come back with either a wash of India ink, you can come back with powders, maybe a diluted powder type of thing. You're just looking for basically some black or dark umber to get into the cracks of this pole, basically. The cross arms, I really don't do too much to them. I like to, of course, these things, some of them come painted with white insulators, some greens. The white doesn't really do it for the prototype look, but it does show up nice in pictures. So I'll leave them as such and then maybe just weather a little bit on them. But as far as scraping anything across the cross arms, I found I break too many insulators, quite frankly, to really warrant that. So I need about another 150 or so just to make it on the branch line here up to the Neenah area. I do have some hidden trackage, so that's good. I also have to work a few back towards Manitowoc. I added a couple around the grain elevator. I just added in there, so working on that project. Another big project this summer has been making up signs around the layout, and I've just, started to scratch the surface on most of the important spots. Here's Manitowoc Shipbuilding. A lot of them are very simple because there's really not much going on. When there's a place like Medina Junction here, there's a coaling tower and a siding. Well, the siding is a Chicago Northwestern interchange. So, when the guy gets his paperwork, and if there's work at Medina Junction, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, as they say, to figure out what goes where. So I haven't really planned on doing too much of this. The downside, of course, is that it clutters, in a lot of ways, it sort of clutters the whole layout, fascia board at least. So I don't know, it's a horse apiece, as they used to say. If you like a clean fascia, well, this probably ain't gonna do it for you. And I find that, without these maps of some sort or a diagram of some sort, especially for a new operator, they're wondering. Now, it's maybe unique to a layout with a lot of industry, but it could even be a simpler layout that has a town, just one town with the siding, much less, not having to worry about 10 or 15 areas on the layout that receive a bunch of cars. So anyways, I designed these signs up and I mount them under plexiglass. I basically bought the clear plastic and then sized the sign to fit under them. The other option is that you could hand out a book or a map of the layout, and I think Chuck Hitchcock famously did this and explained it in one of his videos on his layout many years ago. It was basically a book, Car Locations in Cities. The main thrust of this whole last week has been getting ready for an operating session. My crew is coming over at the end of the month, and so I've may have mentioned on here already, I use RailOp, which is an old Windows-based program from around the year 2000. As you can see here, I've got a very old computer. Good heavens, it's running Windows 98. The neat thing is, however, that the program will work all the way up to Windows 10. I'm assuming 11. I'm buying a new computer for my personal use and for the magazine publishing use. So I'll try loading up the disk on there, see what happens. But I know it works all the way through 10 basically, so hopefully 11 will work too. There's so many new options out through the years. A lot of the guys use JMRI, there was Ship It. I don't know, I haven't looked up any of the current offerings out there, and I'm sure there's many more. I will say, as I mentioned in my last video, I do like the idea of a switch list. To me at least, a switch list of this size looks like, somewhat like I remember from the Chicago Northwestern back in the 80s here in my hometown. I know the draw of any computer program is, to do it automatically basically, but there again, I'm old-fashioned. Some of the cars have waybills set up that kind of go 4 spots and back to the start again. Other cars I just fit in as I see them. There's about 500 cars on the layout, and I'm not a super brain. I can't remember all of them, but there are certain types of cars that have to go to certain industries, and there, the computer helps me out with that. Obviously, all of this is set up before a wheel even turns on the layout. Even if I'm not using the information automatically through the computer, it still requires passing sidings, car length, yard length total, all of this kind of stuff, designated tracks for industries. Once that's all put into the computer, it makes it a lot easier, obviously. Plus, you get a nice printed list when you're done. So, nice setup. I like it. I'm sure there's better stuff. And if you're a guy that wants to let the crew know exactly where that car is going, where it's from, how it's being routed, all of this kind of stuff, once it's off of the modeled portion of layout, well, this ain't really the program for you. This is a program that's simplified. I'd call it simplified for good operations, basic operations, and That's really all I can say about it. The other thing is that I don't think it's even available anymore. If you use something on your own layout, I know we have a lot of experienced operators here in the group. Let me know what you use and why you like it in the comments. I'd be curious, just in case someday some Windows program won't accept this and I'm left scrambling, either, you know, keeping old equipment running like this Windows 98 or, you know, considering an upgrade. Hopefully I never have to face that, but you never can tell these days with electronics. So that's about the whole operation here. I will be back next Wednesday, of course, with another video. And sanding tower, again, will probably be the main focus on that. Hopefully it's done by that time, and at least ready to be planted on the layout. The following week is the operating session, so I think that will have a lot of, hopefully, somewhat decent video of the session itself. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Now, if you would be so kind to subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you down the rails.